such a beautiful thing to have you connect with me here on Refining Moments with Ucee. My name is Ucee Imafidon, and this is Refining Moment. Welcome. Here we talk about everything personal refinement that caters to your personality grooming, your character development, and your relationship management. And talking about relationship management, we started a series this month having conversations around commonly asked questions by young people and single people about relationship and marriage. And we had an interesting discussion last week answering a question that is often asked by so many people, and that question was about how long one should date for before getting married. You need to check that video out if you've not seen it. I think I should leave the link in any part of this video, or I'll leave it in the description so that you can find it and watch it. Okay, so delving straight into the conversation for today, we'll be answering yet another question that a lot of young people ask, and this one you would like. So it says, how do I know if a person is the will of God or the right one for me to marry? I told you, interesting, right? I'm gonna take that again. How do I know if a person is the will of God or the right one for me to marry? You'll agree with me that this is one question that is often asked by a lot of young people and singles, at seminars, during one-on-one counseling sessions, conferences, any and every marriage-related program. Okay, so that's exactly what we'll be answering today. And to start off, I just want to establish this. I'd like you to know that when it comes to marriage, first and foremost, there is no particular person that you must get married to. So much so that if you do not get married to that person, you feel like you have missed it. You know how people go about with this sort of lies? That's not true. And you know why that is? Because you've been given a power, a right of choice. Okay? So having established that, however, there's a right one for you, and the right one is essentially God's will for you. Who's God's will? God's will is someone that God leads to you, or God leads you to and recommends to you for marriage, because of course he knows you better. And it's always important that we go for God's recommendation, that we go for God's leading, because he knows your 5 years, your 10 years, your 20 years from now, and so he knows the perfect person to fit into you that you can do life with and have the best of marriage. That's why it's important. It's very important to go to God for direction in choosing your life partner. I know that the reason why this conversation can be a bit dicey and confusing sometimes is because sometimes the will of God, the said will of God, sometimes may not necessarily look like the kind of person that we would want to spend the rest of our life with. And the reason is because we have an idea of the way that the kind of person should be, or how he or she should look. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you have a spec. I want to believe that everyone has a spec, right? So sometimes this will of God, supposedly, when they show up, they may not look like it. So, but then there's just this it's more tests that you can use to prove that the person is truly the will of God. So one way is that the person must be a believer just like you. That's one way. The will of God cannot be anything aside from God's fold, God's children. So it's important that one very thing that you should look out for when, choosing to settle for a marriage partner is that the person is a child of God, is a believer like you. The person shares the same belief system with you, has the same values with you. Okay, so that's one very important thing that you should look out for. Another important thing is that the person will be someone that you like. Yes, and I'm not even saying that you must be someone you should be head over heels in love. This is almost like a stranger that you have not known. So it's only okay. There's some people who go with the love at first sight thing, but ordinarily, typically when the will of God shows up, it doesn't always look like it. But when that happens, the person is certainly going to be somebody that you like, because at the end of the day, you are going to make the decision. Yes, God will recommend, but bear this in mind that God does not force you or force anyone on you. Neither does he compel you to, choose someone or to accept someone. So what that means is if anyone comes for you, or if you come in contact with someone and the person doesn't seem to maybe resonate with you, maybe you're not convinced, you've taken out time to really pray, The person comes and says, oh, God has said that you're my spouse, God has said that I am your spouse and all that. And you've taken time to really pray, and you've gotten the support or the help of other people to join you in prayers, and you seem not to have a release in your spirit to go ahead with that person. Then sincerely speaking, after having verified from the Lord, and you're sure that you're sure that this is not exactly the will of God for you, I want to say to you that it is very okay. It is not out of place to decline the proposal. Yes, it is not out of place to decline the proposal. Remember, I said that God does not force anyone on you. He does not compel you to get married to someone. So he allows room for a right of choice for you to, because at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's going to be your decision. Okay, so that's why it's important that you like the person. So once you do like the person, then go ahead and get married already. Adam, for instance, didn't just jump at the first option that he was presented with. Hope you know that. You can read that up from Genesis chapter 2 from verse 18 to 23. Eve was not the very first person that was presented to Adam. There were other options. I mean, the moment the Lord decided to make a helper for him, there were other options that were presented to him, but he just looked at them and said, no, until Eve showed up in the scene. And then, of course, he went for Eve. So the same principle is also applicable to you. The Lord will definitely lead you and guide you, but at the end of the day, the choice is yours to make. I hope this has been helpful as much as possible. Remember, yes, the Lord will direct you to someone, okay? And the person has to be a believer, a Christian like you. And also the person has to be someone that you like, someone that you're convinced beyond reasonable doubt that, you can go ahead to get married. And one way that God can confirm that is through his word, through other people, and most importantly, through the peace, because he said in his word that his peace will guide our hearts and our minds. So just look out for all of those. Once you're able to check all of these, then you are good to go. Thank you so much for staying connected to this time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you find this helpful. Please be kind enough to subscribe if you've not done so yet, and like this video, give it a thumbs up, and share to as many people as possible so that this kind of video can go to many people as well. Yes, we'll be right back again with another video next time. Until then, keep blossoming. Go ahead and have a beautiful day ahead. God bless you.